How did the story of غلفتينر start from Sharjah in 1976?
Sharjah was the first Emirates to set up and somewhat install container port operations, putting also one of the first footstep in the Northwest Emirates in Horfakan.
Mr. Farid, what distinguishes Sharjah's geographic location from other cities in the region?
Sharjah has this unique positioning of having an access to the Arabian Gulf, but as well to the Indian Ocean. The Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry act more like, a private, entity, that aims to do business and grow business that I have ever seen,
Hi, Mr. Farid. Good to see you here in Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry and in this podcast, Business Impact. Please first introduce yourself, what's your job title and who you are, and then we can move to different stories and stages.
Okay, thank you very much, Youssef. So first of all, let me extend my sincere appreciation to the Sharjah government and to the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce for giving me this opportunity to share a bit of insights and my experience about the logistic and port industry, and obviously also putting the highlight in the role that غلفتينر is playing in Sharjah as a global operator. This is literally my first interview.
It's our pleasure to see you. And
so I feel a bit stressed, but somewhat with your smile, I'm sure we can go through this together and address every question, hopefully with great insights and experience. So my name is فريد بلبواب. I'm a French Algerian by origin, married with 3 children. Soon they will be obviously joining me here.
MashaAllah, God bless them.
Thank you. So I hold 20 years experience in the shipping, logistic, and maritime industries. So prior to, joining غلفتينر, so I spent about 15 years in the CMA CGM group in different roles in different regions.
Great.
In Africa, in the Middle East, in the Asia, in China, in Southeast Asia. CMA CGM is the 3rd largest maritime logistic global integrator. And from 2020 until recently, so I was stationed in Indonesia, where I was heading the largest Southeast Asian Indonesian maritime shipping integrator under the name of Meratus, which operates about 100 plus ships, couple of container ports.
Wow.
and few ICDs. So great experience. So all in all, those 20 years were a mixed bag of great encounter. And my role was, somewhat to connect the dots and help facilitate the trade. So in this new role in غلفتينر, so I joined the group for now 2 months, so very much fresh.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you. As a group CEO.
It's amazing journey. Mr. Farid, starting with the title, the beginning and vision. How did the story of غلفتينر start from Sharjah in 1976?
Yeah, so far, it's a very interesting journey where Sharjah was the first Emirates to set up and somewhat install container port operations in the entire Emirate. So, and غلفتينر, somewhat founded in 1976, was appointed as, the first company to operate Sharjah as a container port. So from humble beginnings, Sharjah somewhat set a very strong footprint in driving growth, but as well container terminal operations, while at that time, container was still somewhat at a very embryon stage of the containerization wave that we've been observing in the global trades. Along the way, from 1976, we've obviously embraced different projects, and from Sharjah, we also from Sharjah Container Port, we also were putting also one of the first footstep in the Northwest Emirates in Khorfakan. And I must say, soon we will be celebrating 50 years. 50 years of excellence, 50 years as well of expansion.
Let's
and
say
50
approximately
years of
50 years with the accomplishments and success story. It's really amazing, Mr. Farid. Moving to our next question. What was the vision that led you from a small port operator to a global end-to-end supply chain and logistics solutions provider?
So I think somewhat the vision of the founding fathers of غلفتينر was fundamentally rooted in customer centricity. And there was really a fundamental obsession to do great, to do better, and to do more. So from the vision of setting up the operations in Sharjah and the expansion to Khorfakan, in driving trade, driving cargo through those two respective gateways. Gradually, a logistic network, a distribution network was settled and somewhat brought, I would say, a great outcome for the industries, because shipping, ports, logistic help obviously connect the dots, with regions, with countries, and facilitate at the end supply chain distributions for cargo and commodities. So that was somewhat the initial journey.
How did Sharjah's business environment support your launch?
The Sharjah business environment was somewhat always very somewhat consistent and supportive from the very beginning. The regulatory environments, I will say the ease of doing business, and somewhat also the welcoming package, I will say, that were proposed to industries like us have been very helpful to set up our operations and grow further. And that's not only because somewhat غلفتينر is a part of that ecosystem and landscape of Sharjah, but if you look today at the number of companies that have been flourishing in Sharjah in different industries, from the all sorts of manufacturing in the oil and gas, but as well in the FMCG, trading companies, energy renewables. So it's a perfect illustration of how the Sharjah government and to its extent the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce are somewhat very helpful in helping us not only to set up our foothold, but as well grow along the way and maintain our competitiveness, because the world obviously is becoming, the regions as well, our neighbors as well are showing extreme aggressiveness in terms of aiming to attract businesses and facilitate trade and somewhat economic growth. But Sharjah has always had that sort of DNA, and that was obviously very helpful from the initial stage.
Mr. Farid, what distinguishes Sharjah's geographic location from other cities in the region?
So that's a really an interesting question, and somewhat, many people tends to omit the length, actually, of the land size, but as well the access of Sharjah as an emirate. Sharjah has this unique positioning of having an access to the Arabian Gulf, but as well to the Indian Ocean. This dual access gives a unique advantage to the Sharjah Emirates. And I think somewhat we have seen it recently with the crisis of the Strait of Hormuz, where Khorfakan played, but as well and will continue to play a critical role into securing access to not only Sharjah, but as well to the entire UAE
Yeah.
but as well the GCC market. So we have, as of now, established solutions that serves the Northern Emirates, but as well Sharjah and Dubai. Land bridge solutions that connect Horfakan by road to those to those markets.
That also gives, let's say, huge opportunities to success, and gives also more, let's say, chances, and also the variety of cultures and different kind of industries also that play a main role of success of any industries here in Sharjah. How has the support of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry impacted your business growth?
We have always been an active member, but as well contributor in the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and from early stage. And this relationship is not only a one-way traffic, where we come and somewhat seek help from them, but I must say actually that they always obviously provide assistance, and they have shown, a strong assistance for our operations, and not only in the UAE, in Sharjah on its own, but as well outside of the UAE, and with facilitating dialogue, partnerships as well with customers, with government bodies, with other peers, industry peers as well. So beside joining delegations in with the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry in other countries, when it comes to conferences or workshop, we are also regularly invited to one-on-one dialogues with potential partners. That leads, obviously, to concrete businesses and projects that beneficiate غلفتينر, but as well the Sharjah Emirate. So and I must say, I've been living in over 15 countries. I have rarely seen a chamber of commerce and industry
that support.
That supports, but also running like a business.
Correct.
I don't necessarily have the feel that I'm dealing with, a state-owned organization, with,
business
usually,
group.
Usually, in other countries, state-owned organizations are always, somewhat defined as a bit, bureaucratic, but the ease of doing business with a Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry has always been there, and we appreciate that. So we embrace it, and we obviously would like to support also their growth. It's really important. We act as well as their representative when outside of the UAE.
Mr. Farid, moving to economic footprint, what are your most notable economic achievements in the UAE and the region?
So, since the establishment of غلفتينر in 1976, we have seen trade growth. The number of companies, obviously, that are settling down in Sharjah because of the trade facilitation enabled by the port and logistic infrastructures, is a good illustration of the somewhat of the growth of the Emirates.
Amazing.
Beside the, from our perspective, so as غلفتينر, we've been benefiting massively of our operations in the UAE, and that has enabled us to expand as well outside of the UAE. So as of today, غلفتينر operates in 4 different countries. So in the UAE, but as well in Saudi Arabia, in Iraq, but as well in the US. And we have obviously a plan for growth in regions like Southeast Asia, but as well Africa, and, Latin America, so the med sector and the Indian subcontinent. Somewhat whenever you get into port and logistic businesses, so the impact is massive at a, not only necessarily at a regional or global scale, but as well at a local scale. So the creations of jobs, the empowerment of local communities. If I have to take an example, so when we initiated our operations in Iraq, we were actively participating in, in the reconstruction of the infrastructure of Iraq.
That's amazing.
We know obviously, the history of Iraq, but at the same time, so how the number of projects that since then obviously were built up and enabled in that region. Similarly, our operations in Saudi Arabia, in Jubail. Jubail is known to be the largest petrochemical export gateway in the world, with customers like Sabic, Al-Waha, and Chevron. So we contribute as well to that kind of economic growth by facilitating exports and imports, and also I would say the impact on certain industries is visible. So the growth sector on the petrochemical segment has been a double-digit growth for the past 10 years out of the Eastern Province in Saudi Arabia.
How do you contribute to boosting regional and global trade exchange?
Our terminals are located into geostrategical location. So if I were to take probably focus on the example of Korfakan, Korfakan enable an access obviously into the Arabian Gulf. And is a great tool. It's a great transshipment hub tool, helping shipping lines to reduce their steaming time, so bringing the cost down. It's a port that can accommodate very large container ships, until 14, 15 meters draft. Calling Korfakan somewhat avoid for those same shipping companies to enter and steam into the Arabian Gulf. So that helps obviously reduce the transit time, bring economy of scales, and at the end, help, both the end consumer, but as well the shipping operator to, serve, I would say lower cost and bring efficiency to their supply chain. But at the same time, beside the Arabian Gulf, so Korfakan has been serving as well the Indian subcontinent.
Great, yeah.
And as well the Indian Ocean islands. That's actually the power of having an asset in such a strategic location.
Yeah, correct.
Our operations as well in the US, Cap Canaveral, serves as a natural gateway for the hinterland of Orlando in Florida, but it's also extremely well located to serve the entire Caribbean and Central American islands. So we have services connecting Puerto Rico with all sorts of commodities from container to lumber and other product types.
Wow, I totally agree with what you said also regarding of the variety of industries. Moving to title innovation and technology, how do you integrate the latest technologies into port operations?
So technology today is not nice to have; it's a must. In the sense where the world has evolved in such manner where customers are expecting to, from their vendors, to be able to be served literally through a phone. So today you can order your food, you can even order. You can procure all sorts of government services.
A lot
as well
of platforms.
Yes, exactly. So the same as well applies to our industry. And what is funny is that traditionally the shipping, port, and logistics sector. So even though it's the oldest industry, because we always have been historically trading, with ships, with before with camels and horses.
Yeah.
We moved obviously since then to motorized equipments.
The improvement, development.
Exactly. But the I will say the digitalization has been progressing at a very slow path. We have obviously a lot of blockers in that, and that does not necessarily come from the customer themselves, but from the operators. I mean, there's a study that says that today 80% of the somewhat of the challenges to digitalize operations comes from the provider in-house, from their own people, from their own organization. So in our case, actually, we're obviously looking at this differently, because digitalizing the use of our assets and our services is actually a differentiator. So we have obviously invested massively in being able to track and trace the use of our equipments, ensuring obviously that our customers connect as well to our platforms seamlessly. So all in all, to enable customers to click, book, and pay. So there's still significant amount of work to be done, and we should not obviously take those initial steps as I will say as a great success. This is again in the digital transformation is still obviously lagging. We have plugged AI in our operations, but as of now, again, we still have obviously still very much efforts to do to enhance the digital literacy of our talents. And I think somewhat I used to say to my colleagues, but also to our partners, customers, that talking about AI or making use of ChatGPT is just the initial step, but the impact that AI will have in our industry is absolutely massive. So everyone should be ready for it. Everyone should embrace it. If we do not do it for ourselves, we should at least do it for our children.
We will be late. Yes, correct. Is it difficult to meet these contemporary platforms and AI tools?
So actually, it is, of course, it is challenging, because the first devil is in-house.
Correct.
And
to understand, to
exactly. I mean, as I said earlier, we need to build digital literacy, and that requires that's actually a top-down approach. So ensuring that the people are educated, rather than actually fearing the use and the impact of it, like, I might lose my job. No, actually, I should learn about the benefit of using it, because it can help me to do my job faster.
Correct.
And I can focus on save time, and I can focus on other things. Also, ultimately, we came at the stage where we cannot anymore fight it. So you have startups today that are coming into this industry and that are revolutionizing that is already the case in the medical sector, in the education sector, in the agricultural sector. So the port, and logistic and shipping sector, even though there's still a bit of somewhat reluctance from the users and eventually from some customers.
Challenges.
Yes, we have to go for it, because it's a must to enhance our operations, give actually somewhat the visibility to the end consumer, and as of now, obviously, data is important, but data is good as long as we get the right data as well. So I can tell you, غلفتينر obviously is embracing this journey. We still have very much to do. We will engage as well with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Sharjah to understand as well how somewhat we could enhance our operations, because a lot of customers obviously are, the voice of the customers has to be heard.
Yeah.
We have to listen to them, and we have to listen to them from different angles.
Yeah, correct.
It's really important.
I totally agree. Mr. Farid, regarding of global expansion, what was your experience expanding into markets like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and USA?
غلفتينر was actually, and till date, is the largest private port operator, from the Middle East. Actually, as of now, even we are the only Middle Eastern company that has, set up a footprint in the US. It's extremely difficult to get into the US. People have time to time the perception that it's a free market.
Yeah.
It's a free market, obviously, when you are in, but it's extremely difficult to pass the regulatory approvals and somewhat then to set up a presence. But once you are there and, obviously you have appetite for growth, you can obviously, make your presence and grow further your business. So our experience obviously comes, with, challenges, lessons as well, that we learn, from our mistakes, because, in any business, you get as well, to try, trial, error, mistake. But then obviously, as long as you are ready to reflect on those mistakes, then you can take this, obviously, this journey forward. And if we are here today, and soon we will be celebrating our 50 years,
yeah,
it's because we have that capability to learn from our mistakes and take risk as well. Taking risk is today, actually, and particularly in the port sector, you cannot expect, to get that carrot at the end of the journey if you are not ready to take a risk. Who will go and settle in Iraq when actually at the time of war? Not many people.
Yeah.
But we were obviously, as a Sharjah company, because of the confidence we had and somewhat because of the knowledge we gained, and somewhat the support also that we got from the government here.
Yeah.
We were, and from our shareholders, we were actually capable to take our brand, our experience, and somewhat build, our presence there. And we want, obviously, to continue to leverage that presence, that experience, into other markets. We believe that we can bring the Sharjah know-how into Africa, into Southeast Asia. The beauty of Sharjah is, and the UAE is, we are friends with everyone.
Yeah, correct. More than 200 nationalities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we can do business with everyone. We are not, tied to anyone. We can, in the morning we can say hello to a Chinese, and and
Bonjour.
for lunch, yeah, exactly. And then for lunchtime we can have a lunch with a French guy, and at night we can have dinner with Indians.
Depends on the cuisine sometimes.
Exactly. So that's the beauty, of operating in I would say in a country, in an environment that is inclusive, that embrace diversity, and that actually foster, I would say, economic prosperity. And a word, that I really, that I like to emphasize to use, peace. This is really important, and for a business like us, and also for many, many of our customers, but as well, business partners that are settling. And that's what I get to say, to relay, please come to Sharjah. We have actually economic prosperity, but we have peace. And we have obviously access to talents. We have, access to a global platform. So please come and do business in Sharjah.
Going to a new market, that's a bit or let's say it's a bit of challenge.
Yes, of course. It's a challenge in the sense where, and particularly again when it comes to ports, because ports is a state-owned, regalian function. So you get to deal with regulatories. You get to deal, to some extent with union.
Yeah.
You get to deal with, local culture.
A new mind.
Yeah, new mindset, other mindset. So what is important is, again, similarly, as we embrace diversity, we have to walk the talk as well when we get into operations, whether it's in Iraq or in Saudi Arabia. In Iraq, we employ, majorly actually Iraqis.
Sometimes it gives you clear evaluations of your level of like industry when you compare yourself and other markets and
Yes, correct. It's a very good, actually, I will say, a way, to pulse, somewhat to measure the pulse, or somewhat, to measure, to benchmark yourself, with obviously other operators, but also in other countries. And honestly, I must say, and not because, today we are sitting in the Sharjah, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but the business environment is extremely conducive here. As I mentioned to you, so the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry act more like, a private, entity, that aims to do business and grow business that I have ever seen, in other, countries.
You deserve it, Mr. Farid. If we can talk a bit about future, which markets are you targeting in future plans?
Yeah, so as of now, as our anchor is obviously in Sharjah, we will continue to enhance first, our business in the Emirate, and we still have significant developments to carry in the Emirate. Over the next couple of weeks, we will announce major plans. I cannot talk yet about it, but I can tell you, you have to stay tuned,
Inshallah.
But when it comes to expansions, when it comes to new businesses, new stream, there are significant opportunities that we can still tap on. So, and that's very important, obviously, to take a note on this, because as of now, we still have to reinforce our actually positioning in the region. So our neighbors are also growing, and غلفتينر obviously as the logistic shipping maritime enabler, of the Sharjah Emirate, we have a role to play in maintaining competitiveness. So that's very important. So beside obviously that, I will say, this I will say first priority, we have obviously a strong ambition, a bold ambition to bring in غلفتينر and the Sharjah flag in other continents. I can tell you, we are now just opening an office in Singapore. So we would like actually to have our company representation, very much well settled in the Asia region. Singapore is a global platform. Many shipping companies are settled there. So it's important as well, again, to listen to our customers, to be close to our customers. I think everyone knows that, there've been a shift, of economics and growth from West to East and the Middle East, but as well Southeast Asia, China have been, with India, have been largely benefiting of that shift. So, and many operators are present today. Big shipping lines are obviously represented in Asia, in Singapore, in Taiwan, in China. So we need to be close to our to those obviously customers.
Yeah,
so
that's also a big population.
Yes, exactly. So and we obviously see also opportunities in Southeast Asia, in countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, where we see potentials for development, for growth. So Africa as well is another playground for to explore both West Africa and East Africa. India. I was reading yesterday that in 2024, apparently 2,000 companies settled in Sharjah.
Wow.
So. And as of now, غلفتينر do not have yet a presence in India. So my commitment is that before the year end, we will open an office in India and be close to our customers, and somewhat connect the dots with the network we have. US as well. So we are working on serious expansion plans. Within for our existing facility. But as well in other geographies in the North American continents. So I must say that the future is bright, and we have somewhat a great platform, to somewhat grow it to the next level.
Best of luck, Mr. Farid. Mr. Farid, regarding of a human capital, what are your efforts in training and employing national talent?
So it's a very important question, and actually, I must say, this probably should have been the first question, because it's about human capital.
Yeah.
So we are a port operator, so we own assets, we own equipments, we own trucks, we own cranes.
But the human capital is...
But human capital actually is the first asset.
Yeah, correct.
Is actually the primary asset in every organization. And, good people is an asset, but bad people is a liability.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure that you have great people? So you have to create that sense, of belonging and ownership. And غلفتينر actually has always put actually people, at the heart of the business. So we had all sorts of, nationalities and very blended, also diversity. So with men and women as well, and from different geographies. Moving forward, a very important program in غلفتينر is actually the how we're going to empower more, our local talents.
Yeah.
So as of now, approximately 10% of our population are actually Emiratis.
Wow.
So we would like, obviously, to bring that number, to a higher level. And how we're going to do that? So first, actually, by creating opportunities. And how do we create opportunities? So, I mean, being a maritime and logistics sector, in the logistics sector, I don't necessarily need to find people who are from that industry, So, of course, it's a plus, but I think it's important to open up the eyes, to the young generation.
Yeah.
So we have, obviously, we are actually planning to develop a management program. So where, women Emiratis and young men Emiratis will have the chance to be exposed to different sets of the jobs through this 18 months program. So in finance, in sales, in operations, eventually being posted outside, going to Iraq,
Sure.
or Saudi Arabia. And at the end of this program, so if they are successful, and if they have, again, if we manage to incubate that sense of ownership, belonging, they could actually take, management roles. And similarly to, any other countries where, local talents are plugged, this is a very important agenda, I think, for غلفتينر, but as well for Sharjah on its own. We need actually to give, a bigger and a stronger platform for the young Emiratis.
And also that's part of social responsibilities of any companies and businesses to give the full support of new youth, let's say, or Emirati, and another also nationalities to be part of this sector. How do you view the role of Emirati youth in the future of the logistic sector?
So, interestingly, last week I visited the Sharjah Maritime Academy. I must say that I was actually shocked by actually the state-of-the-art facility that is in place. I mean, the vision of Sheikh Sultan, in setting up such an institution, and in a beautiful location like Khorfakan is just stunning. So the equipment, the programs, the academic program that is in place, I had as well, a word, with the dean, of the Maritime Academy. I can see, and feel the passion as well to bring a change, when it comes to empowering, but as well encouraging and instigating that kind of appetite to learn, maritime and logistics. I think, after visiting that, the Maritime Academy, I believe, that we have as well from the private sector a key role to play. I mean, number one, eventually, to propose apprenticeship, along the program. but not only apprenticeship, but also job opportunities. They are, the program are designed for seafarers, actually, to, for some of the, young talents to end up as a seafarer and work on board the ship. But some others actually will prefer, to work shore. So, I mean, in offices, behind the desk or, meeting with customers, with partners. I believe that, again, the private sector can play and must play a critical role to that extent. So we are working now on more than an MOU, but really executing with concrete steps somewhat a program that will enable Emiratis that are, trained and educated through the Sharjah Maritime Academy to join our organization. Similarly, actually push also our people in غلفتينر, to get access, to the programs in the academy. And to that extent, why? Because logistic, maritime is the vital bloodline of any country.
Correct.
And we have seen during COVID, when everyone actually was, blocked, at home, the only industry that kept moving is actually shipping and transportation.
Yeah, correct.
Because we need to eat, and people even ended up consuming more, buying, sofa, television, so cargo needs to move. So, and we need to build our pool of talent. And while actually we have to embrace diversity, and I'm aware of the UAE, target to bring, 30 million, inhabitants, by a certain number of years,
Wow.
So I'm sorry, I'm not, fully exactly aware of the, of the target date, but the Emiratis actually have to take responsibilities and role in this industry. We need it, as an operator. So, and also I think, the country itself, it's so strategic that actually people have to obviously show interest. And to do that, we have to set up the right platform. So if we don't get people interested about the jobs, obviously we will not be able to create, a long career path for our people.
Finally, Mr. Farid, if we can give message to entrepreneurs, what advice do you offer to entrepreneurs in the transport and logistics field?
Throughout my career, I'm 43 years old and I still have so much to learn. But I can say that the kind of entrepreneurs or businessmen that I met, from different sectors, different industries with different cultural background, were always open first, to listen. So listening is extremely important. Listening is not listening to answer,
Listening,
but deep listening.
Yeah, that's mean learning.
Exactly.
Gaining new experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I think, focus on innovating. So it's really easy to copy past what my neighbor is doing, and okay, my neighbor has, today he serves, let's say he sells, potatoes or, whatever, so I'm going to do the same, But if you can focus probably on transforming, and innovating, so, and building a differentiator, that will, literally put your business, it in another scale, on because that's really about building a long-lasting legacy, something, that supersede, any generation transition, any CEO transition. Beside, innovating, transforming. So businesses, there are a lot of businesses that have been settled for ages, We have to embrace transformation. And transformation is obviously about digitalizing, so plugging, AI, blockchain into our operations. So to ensure that we provide a seamless experience to our customers, but also to our employees. Transforming is also accepting that the new generation of people coming into businesses are different. The Gen Z actually have different needs. I mean, our grandparents were looking for a job for security, somewhat to feed.
Just to live.
I need to live and to feed, I need to feed the family, to feed the children. Yeah. The next generation, came to hold the job, to work, But the new generation is looking for experience. So it's our role and the role of the entrepreneurs, the businessmen, to accommodate, and to transform as well their culture to really, welcome this new generation of talents. This is so critical because I see such a gap where people are holding into the job. They are, they don't want to transform. They don't want to, how come, someone who is 30 years younger, will tell me how I'm going to do my job. So, but those new generations, many of them are what we call, hypersensitive. They have actually, they get to learn very quickly the technical skills, and they are more advanced when it comes to the soft skills. They can listen. They can present. They can communicate. Yeah, correct. And they can make actually a significant impact. So, I regularly, I take the example of my daughter. I'm sorry, I'm responding to this because this is such a, for me, I see it really as a leverage and as a problem, in our society today, where we are not giving sufficiently space, for this new generation, and we are not prepared as well, with what they are coming. So I was sitting in a coffee once with my daughter, and I had to leave, to the gym, and she could not come, so she had to wait for me. So my daughter is 12 years old. Yeah. So and she said, "Papa, I'm gonna work on my presentation." He said, "Well, so I don't have a laptop." She said, "No, just give me your phone." I said, "How is she going to work on a presentation in a phone?" So I could not believe it, I went to the gym. I said, okay, she's just telling me this, and most likely she will talk with her friends or she will play, the video games, But when I came back, I asked her, I said, can I see your presentation? And it was, a beautiful presentation, using, somewhat, Canva, PowerPoint, Words, PDFs, all sorts of things, at 12 years old, the only thing that I know how to do is to play football,
to open the TV.
Yeah, and to open the television, and it's not because, she's my daughter, and even so, of course, I'm very proud of her, of my girl. But I must say, that you have this generation of people that are coming, very soon into the, into different industries. And we have to be ready because they're going to get bored, if we don't, and they will as well, revolutionize in the way we work, and all sorts of, I will say habits that we have on how we operate. So, so transforming comes really at a different scale. And lastly, I think, so people should be bold really to take risk. Of course, we have to measure risk. We have to, calculate the risk. We have to plan, prepare, But the history of غلفتينر demonstrate that, even though we took risk as well, there's a reward. And the reward is, even though we failed somewhat, in some areas or some developments, we got to learn from it. And learning from the mistake is, when you are obviously capable to self-reflect, is better than any executive MBA that you can attend anywhere. In Harvard or, so I think, that's, and lastly, my advice to the entrepreneurs, please, come to Sharjah. So this is, a greatest place, to live. This is a great place to do business.
To build also family.
Yes, and of course, to build families, to live with families. So, so most welcome.
Mr. فريد, in conclusion, we are really pleasure to see you here today at Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and in this podcast, Business Impact. Thank you for your informative answers. Hope to see you soon, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Shukran.